Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to your astrological forecast for the upcoming week. And this one will be the week in between the two lunations, the integration of the full moon in Sagittarius and the preparation for the new moon in Cancer. And it's all a little bit weird for me because I'm pre-recording this video. I'm actually recording this on the day of the full moon in Sagittarius. So it's a little bit crazy to think that, oh my God, next week we'll be actually starting to build up towards the new moon in Cancer. But, you know, it is what it is. The timelines are all not linear. Everything is happening simultaneously. So I'm sure we're going to get some good messages. And actually, I am going to be using some brand new decks that I just picked up here in the UK. So I'm super excited and I'm really curious to hear what messages will come through those. But before I go any further, let me just open this space and invite my spirit guides, my angelic team, ascended masters, of course, my higher self, my astrological team, Akashic record keepers, and all the beings of light that wish to be present, also Starseed family and ancestors, because this is one of my home countries. And thank you everyone else who is watching, and let's just dive in. So as I mentioned, I am recording this on the day of the full moon in Sagittarius, and on the same day, which obviously will be in the past by the time you're watching this, we're experiencing the Mercury sextile to Venus. Then we're going to enter into the weekend with the after effects of the Sun square to the lunar nodes exact, because of course this is fully active for this lunation full moon in Sagittarius. It was fully active, but the actual peak is happening on Friday the 13th. We have it Friday the 13th this week, and we are going to enter into the weekend with moon still in a sign of Capricorn. However, on Saturday the 14th, moon will move into a sign of Aquarius, where moon will remain until Monday the 16th. And throughout the weekend, we will experience Mars will make a square, first quarter square to Uranus in Taurus. Their last conjunction took place last year on July 15th, which was right before the second full moon in Capricorn, the one that took place on 29 degrees. We had two last year, you might remember, and the conjunction between Mars and Uranus in July 2024 took place on 26 degrees and 19 minutes of Taurus, which is of course the Capricornian decan and is a Taurus degree. So that's about foundation. So this square that we are experiencing on Sunday between Mars and Uranus, this is a first quarter square for Mars, and Mars is still in the sign of Leo for another few days. And this is all about crisis in action. So we need to step into the direction that is in alignment with our authentic expression and who we really want to be and who we want to be perceived to be in the outer reality. Speaking of which, obviously now with Jupiter being in the sign of Cancer as the ruler of this full moon in Sagittarius that we just experienced, Jupiter is making his first aspect from the sign of Cancer on Sunday the 15th, and it will be square to Saturn. Saturn in Aries 1 degree 18 minutes, and the last conjunction, because this is also for Jupiter the first quarter square, crisis in action. So we need to do something. The last conjunction between Jupiter and Saturn took place on December 21st, 2020. We might remember that was the great conjunction, right? 21st of December 2020 on 0 degrees and 29 minutes of Aquarius. So that was the anaretic degree of Aquarius, which was about breaking of the pattern. And this is the first quarter square. Like I mentioned, this is a crisis in action for Jupiter, which is like we have to start thinking and perceiving reality in a different way, because Sagittarius is all about perception, is about the story and how we experience in this life. So Jupiter now being in a sign of Cancer for another year, because Jupiter will be there until the end of June 2026, we will have to learn to perceive reality from the inside out, so from the inner world. So no longer seeking the information just like, okay, what is this information out there we are bombarded with all the time with AI and social media and everything, but like, how does it feel in my body? How do I feel about it? What is my intuition telling me? So it's no longer will be like, okay, I'm gonna be guided just by all this overload of information that is overwhelming and our brain cannot possibly process. That's why everybody is struggling with the retention of the memory, what everything we consume, and can we actually retain it, can we put it all into practice. So it's no longer gonna be about seeking all this information from the outside, but actually seeking information from the inside, like, okay, is that relevant to me? Is this something that is going to support me on my journey, on this in creation of this story that I want to experience for myself. So this is the first quarter square, Jupiter to Saturn. on Sunday the 15th. Then we're going to move into Monday. As I mentioned, moon still will be in the sign of Aquarius, traveling through the final decan, which is the Libra decan, all about balancing. And after that, moon will move into the sign of Pisces on Monday the 16th. So the cycle will end. The cycle of the moon will end. Moon is our inner world. Like I mentioned, Jupiter is in a sign of Cancer, therefore will be ruled by the moon for the entire next year. Well, I mean this year, not next year, for the entire next 12 months, right? The year ahead. So this will be all about, just like we had Jupiter being moved by Mercury, and Mercury is always moving, and Mercury is going retrograde 4 times a year. Now moon is going to be the ruler of Jupiter. So this is going to be even more crazy, because moon is obviously every 28.5 days or so. It goes through the entire zodiac and is helping us to grow and evolve. So with Jupiter being a sign of Cancer, this will be literally what will be happening. We will be learning how to expand from inside out based on how things make us feel. And with Jupiter expand everything it touches. So certain things going to become unbearable. Before it was the thoughts like, oh my God, I feel so overloaded with all this information, with all these thoughts in my head. And now Jupiter is going to focus on your emotion, and we can't escape these two things. We can't escape our head, and we can't escape how we feel. Obviously, we can take, Pisces, and we can use Pisces and things to escape those, in a lower vibration, all sorts of substitutes, right? But in a high vibration meditation, you can learn to master these things, right? Well, yeah, you can try to escape from it, but they're going to come back. So the only way is to learn to master them. So you're in control of that. So this is exactly what Jupiter will be helping us to do. So we had a square to Saturn, and then later on in the week square to Neptune as well. So on Tuesday the 17th, we will experience Sun making a sextile to Chiron. This is the first sextile since the conjunction which took place on April 12th this year, which was the day of the full moon in Libra. However, because it's Sun, this puts Chiron behind the Sun. So for Chiron to Sun as a static object in the sky, this is the Aquarian sextile, which is again about releasing. What are we releasing? We are releasing our attachment to the trauma that was created by the old structure, Saturn cycle that is now ending the Piscean age, because Saturn is going to go back into the sign of Pisces for another few months from September this year. So Chiron being behind the Sun, this is what we need to do is break free from this trauma loop response, and especially because at this stage, at the time of this sextile, Mars as the ruler of Chiron is still in the sign of Leo on the anaretic 29 degrees, and I believe like 59 minutes probably as well. So what are we releasing? The sense of self that was created as a response to external environment, in many cases not an authentic expression, but something that we thought was who we were, because that's what we had to become based on our childhood upbringing and the program and the environment and all the rest of it. So speaking of Mars, right after this sextile, literally 2 hours later, Mars is moving into the sign of Virgo, which is all about putting what we learned throughout Mars transit through Cancer and then Leo and going back to Cancer and going back to Leo. So Mars was in the sign of Leo on and off since November last year. Cancer even longer, September. So we have now, this is all finished, Mars is finished with all of that. So now we're going into this new territory, Mars in Virgo, which is like, okay, let's put things into practice. And I just got a thought in my head, like, let's just remind ourselves that Mars was in a sign of Virgo when he became the ruler of the North Node in Aries. Prior to North Node being a sign of Pisces as we have it now, in July 2023, am I correct? July 2023, yes. The nodes moved into the sign of Aries and Libra. And actually at the time when Mars became the ruler of the North Node in Aries, ruled by Mars, Mars was in the sign of Virgo. So now we come around 2 years later, and now Mars is not the ruler of the North or the South Node, but, like Mars is going to actually conjunct South Node and oppose North Node, while he's in the sign of Virgo, of course. So Mars is moving into the sign of Virgo, which is all about putting into practice what we learn, making the adjustments, because Mars is how Pluto acts consciously, so being a sign of Virgo is like, okay, now we have to do something, right? Because with the Cancer, it was all about the emotion. It was bringing up all these things that Jupiter is now going to be working on and expanding. And then with the sign of Leo, it's all about the fire, you know, like what fires you up and stuff, what gives you the sense of passion and inspiration, and you know, and desire, and where do you want to go and stuff like that. And yeah, now Mars is moving into the sign of Virgo, so it's like, okay, work has to be done, you know, there are things that have to be done. And this, again, the word discipline is coming to my mind. This is something that's been showing up in my own personal life so much, the word discipline. We need to learn to be disciplined, and this is not like being rigid or something, but the things that really matter to us, that we want to achieve, and that, you know, like this direction we want to go to, and you know, have our, because what's coming to me from spirit is this grand earth trine, you know, like if you want to have your needs fulfilled, and you know, if you feel worthy to receive what you desire, we need to be disciplined. We need to make certain adjustment and stick to it. You know, Virgo is all about routine. You need to repeat it every day, you know, because this is how we master things, right? The Capricorn. So yeah, so Mars currently being the ruler of Saturn and Neptune, it's going to happen through discipline, you know, through observation, you know, every day. It is not sexy, it is not pretty, you know, like having to have to continuously watch your thoughts, you know, like, try to override the old program, you know, and all these things, right? And obviously Mars being in sign of Virgo, ruled by Mercury in a sign of Cancer, again, how does it make you feel? Your best guidance system is, how do you feel? How do you feel in your body? How do you feel emotionally? You know, what is this reminding you of? Is this how you want to keep feeling? I'm sure this is a familiar pattern, you know, for many of us. We are creatures of habit. So what do we need to do to change that, right? So this is what Mars will be helping us to work on, and Mars will remain in the sign of Virgo until August 7th, which is when Mars will move into the sign of Libra, and this is actually when we already have Uranus in the sign of Gemini, and this will be right before the 8/8 portal and right before the full moon in Aquarius. So we already have Mars in the sign of Libra for the full moon in Aquarius, which will take place on August 9th. All right, let's move on. Wednesday, we'll have Mercury trine Juno. Moon will move into sign of Aries. So, okay, on Wednesday the 18th, which is interesting because 18 is the number 9, which is about the ending. But obviously that is the 18 of the 6, so that will be 9 and a 6, 15. Number 6, yeah, balancing. So Moon will move into sign of Aries, ruled by Mars in Virgo. So, and Moon obviously being the ruler of Jupiter and all the rest of it, you know, what's going on up there in the sky, you know, Mars with Saturn and Neptune association. So anyway, let's just stick to the topic. Moon moving into the sign of Aries is the opportunity to start this new cycle of who you want to become, who do you want to be, who do you want to grow into, right? Because Jupiter, growth. Who do you want to grow into? So yeah, so Wednesday the 18th, which is the day of Mercury, the choice, and Mercury being in a sign of Cancer, you know, ruled by Moon, Jupiter being a sign of Cancer, ruled by Moon, it is a choice, who we want to become. And then Wednesday coming into Thursday, so from the 18th to 19th, depending where you are in the world, Jupiter will make his second aspect from the sign of Cancer, which is the square to Neptune. And the last conjunction between Jupiter and Neptune took place on April 12, 2022, in Pisces, 29 degrees and 59 minutes of Pisces, which is the Scorpio decan and the Aquarian degree. just about 23 degrees 59 minutes. I mean, come on. So what else I want to say about that? Yeah, that was April 2022. Yeah, we still had the nose in April 2022. We still had the nose in, yeah, we just had the nodes in Taurus and Scorpio. So we were learning about the orientation of the North Node was we were learning about what matters to us. So yeah, so the last Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in 2022. And now we're having the first quarter square, which again is a crisis in action. You know, Jupiter being in the sign of Cancer, who do you want to become? Yeah, that makes sense, because with the North Node in the sign of Taurus in 2022, during the time of the last conjunction between Jupiter and Neptune, you were reevaluating what matters to you. You know, this was obviously post-pandemic. So what really matters to me? What is important to me? What do I feel I deserve? What do I feel I don't have, you know, to sustain me, to nurture me, you know, to make me feel, I don't know, like, you know, that I feel grounded in this reality, that I feel happy and satisfied. You know, Neptune is all about the meaning. Now we know the meaning has changed because Neptune is in the sign of Aries. Now Mars is in the sign of Virgo. So it's saying that, okay, well, you know, but you have to do some work, you know, like it's not just all gonna happen on its own. Like, yeah, you know, we have to attune ourselves, feel and stuff, but then certain inspired action has to be taken. So with this square, crisis in action, with Jupiter being in a sign of Cancer, you have to feel into who you want to become. You have to feel into who you want to become. So then you can attract it into manifestation through the resonance, through the magnetism of your heart, right? So then we move into Thursday the 19th, you know, Moon is transiting through the sign of Aries. It's going to be a busy day for me personally with my Venus and Mercury in the sign of Aries. But anyway, then we're going into Friday the 20th. Moon will move into the sign of Taurus. So we will be grounding next weekend. And Sun will move into the sign of Cancer. So we'll be entering into the Cancer season, and it will be solstice, which is obviously for me here on the Northern Hemisphere summer solstice, the beginning of the summer. For you folks in the Southern Hemisphere, it will be the beginning of the winter season for you. Either way is the cardinal season, cardinal sign. Sun moving into the sign of Cancer. We are entering into a new direction because Cancer is it's all about your identity. So, I mean, this is perfectly in alignment with this Jupiter in the sign of Cancer, Mercury in the sign of Cancer, because we're making a choice, right? And then, yeah, we're moving into the sign of Cancer. Sun is moving into the sign of Cancer, while Moon is in the sign of Taurus. We are grounding, we are putting the roots into this, you know, this whatever we're going to be seeding with regards to the new Moon in Cancer, which will be happening the following week. That's why a little bit trippy that I'm literally recording this on a full moon in Sagittarius. We already talking about new Moon in Cancer because everything is going so quickly. It's just insane. But anyway, so with Moon being in the sign of Taurus, this is about, again, being in your body, because Moon as the ruler of, you know, a ruler of the Sun in Cancer. How does it make you feel? How does it make you feel? How do you want to feel? Who do you like? How does that version that you want to become? How would that version of you feel? And this is the most important component of the law of attraction, right? That we have to become that, you know, you have to already feel the way you would feel if you were that person you want to become, right? You already have to feel, you have to know what it feels like. So yeah, so again, going back to Jupiter, this is what Jupiter will help us. You know, I mean, it's not necessarily all gonna feel good because, I mean, yeah, like flooding of emotion. Jupiter is the traditional ruler of the North Node, but this is what Jupiter will help us to achieve, you know, if you do the work, right? Because Moon is always moving. So it's like, yeah, you know, once you up, once you down, but you don't give up. That's why it's all about discipline. You do not give up, you know, like sometimes you up, sometimes you down. Sometimes it's like, yeah, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, you know, that's the Cancer thing. But you don't give up, you keep going, because that vision, that dream, that, you know, that feeling that I know what it feels like and I know it's coming, it has to be that strong. It has to keep you going, because if you give up, you know, that's it. Then then, you know, like all the other low vibrational things are going to come up and they're gonna take you down, because, you know, we all have down days. I had plenty of those in the past few weeks. But you don't give up. You don't give up. You have to be your own initiator, right? And like know what is your toolkit. What is your toolkit of modalities and resources that prop you up? You know, is it that friend? Is it that music? Is it whatever is it? But you need to know what will help you when you're down, because you cannot give up. So yeah, with the Saturn in Aries, you know, we have to become our own leader. We have to become our own boss. We have to become our own authority, right? Nobody's going to do it for you, because otherwise you'll always be at the mercy of someone else, you know, someone else telling you what to do, how to live your life, and you never feel free. So then Saturday the 21st, already being in a Cancer season with Moon in the sign of Taurus, Mercury will trine the North Node. Mercury has been very busy because Mercury moves so quickly, but we know Mercury conjunct the North Node 3 times throughout March and April. Recently, Mercury made a square, you know, and now we have in the trine, you know, on Saturday the 21st, Mercury will trine the North Node 22 degrees 12 minutes, 22, mass number frequency 4, which is the foundation, and 12 is obviously the hangman, but it's also the number of 3, which is the expansion, the number associated with Jupiter. So Mercury trining the North Node, this is again the same thing. Mercury in the sign of Cancer, you know, like you have to start perceiving reality not from logical mind, but how does it make you feel? And is that how you want to feel? And then, yeah, then you can apply, you know, the logic, the strength of your willpower to override the program, right? And then, yeah, the North Node in Pisces is about what is the meaning, what is that vision, what is the dream, what is the fantasy that you want to bring into manifestation, and don't allow anyone to tell you that it's not possible. Don't allow, right? Because with Mercury with Neptune as the ruler, as the modern ruler of the North Node, being in the sign of Aries, ruled by Mars in Virgo, and Jupiter as the traditional ruler, being in a sign of Cancer, ruled by Moon, at this time in the sign of Taurus. It's all up to you. You have to be strong enough in yourself to initiate, and strong enough to persevere, and strong enough to make these changes, because this is the only way you're going to create the reality that you want to experience, because only you know what it is that you want, and only you know how anything makes you feel and how do you want to feel. And then we're going to end the week on Sunday the 22nd. Again, we have the master number frequency 22, which actually the day adds up to number 10, which is the year we're going to enter into next year, 2026. So we're going to end the week with Mars making a sextile to Jupiter, 2 degrees 52 minutes. Let's just see when the last two met. So the last two, Mars and Jupiter last had their conjunction on August 14th, 2024, which was right before full moon in Aquarius of 2024, which was on August 19th. And the last conjunction between Mars and Jupiter took place, of course, in Gemini on 16 degrees and 40 minutes, and that would be the Libra Decan, and for Libra Decan Cancer degree. Yeah, again, Cancer. We can see that we are balancing who we were with who we becoming. So at the time of the conjunction in August 2024, with Mars Jupiter conjuncting in the sign of Gemini, it is the choice. It really is the choice. I mean, seriously, like, this is like the craziest thing, is that it literally is fully in our hands. As much as we don't want to believe it, or we want to make excuses, or the ego obviously want to fight that idea because say, what do you mean? There are so many things out there I can't control, that are outside of my control. And that's true. That's true, that is true. There are things that are outside of your control, because there are these collective contracts, there are things that we cannot touch, but there are things that you can control and change in your own life. And that's the only thing that matters, really, like your own life, how do you want to respond to situation? How do you want to feel? That is all a choice, because nobody else can make you feel or think anything. We have to give consent. Nobody else has the power, only if we give the consent. And this is why we are training our thoughts. And this year, until June 2026, well, July technically, because Jupiter will enter Leo on the last day of June or first day of July, depending when you're in the world, next year on 2026. This is what we are mastering. This is what we are mastering. This is the key to the mastery. And obviously, Chiron is going to be moving into Taurus next year. So so we are going to end the week with Mars making a sextile to Jupiter. And this is for Mars' first sextile, Taurus, foundational sextile, Mars in the sign of Virgo, because we now make an adjustment, Jupiter in Cancer, yes, because now, a year later, we really have to decide, who do you want to be, because you're going to expand that, that belief about who you are, you're going to expand that. So is that really who you want to be? It doesn't matter who you were, who you want to be, because with the Jupiter, it's all about mutability. You can be whoever the hell you want to be, you decide. And it's the same for me, it's the same for everyone. We decide, but we have to take the responsibility, right? Because Cancer, Capricorn, they come as a couple. Capricorn, Saturn. And then on the same day, Sunday the 22nd, Sun is going to square Saturn. And let's have a look. Do I have it? Oh yeah, the last conjunction happened on March 12, 2025, which was right before the eclipse in Virgo, no less, obviously, because we have a Mars in Virgo now, why not? And then again, same applies. This is a first square, since their conjunction. However, because Sun is special, this puts Saturn behind the Sun. So for Saturn is the closing square, which is the crisis in consciousness. So what do we need to release? It's this Saturn being in a sign of Aries, the insecurity that, no, I can't do it. What you're talking about. I am not the creator of my reality. Look at all these things that are outside of my control. And the Mars, being a sign of Virgo, is saying, but you can change things in your everyday practical reality, your routines, the things that, what do we consume? What do we watch? Like how much time I spend in nature, who do I speak to? How much of my energy do I give people who drain me? And, we giving consent 24/7. We're giving consent to all of these things. Who do you interact with? What food do you eat? What do you drink? Yes. We can say like, well, what is available? Like I do the best I can. And that's true, so then it's like, okay, what is the intention? We know we can put, what you say, like a prayer or a mantra and stuff into water, you know, like the teachings of Dr. Emoto, right? Like you can manipulate the crystals in the water by how you speak into it, you know. Are you blessing it? Are you grateful for it and stuff? So yeah, you can say, well, the water is toxic, you know, like let's just see. But you know, but there is all this power of your own mind, power of your own creation, you know. This is what we are really going to have to learn, myself included, you know, going to have to learn that actually no, we are powerful, we are powerful being, we have so much power, but we were being taught to play small by the external authority because it served somebody's agenda, you know, to make us feel like, oh no, we are victims, oh no, we have no power, no control, we are just these poor minions, you know, that just have to do what they're told. And now with Saturn in Aries, it's saying, no, you don't have to be that anymore, you know. But with Sun squaring it, it's saying, you know, Sun being a sign of Cancer, it's saying, but what do you believe about yourself? You know, who do you believe you are? Because with the Cancer, how do you feel about yourself? So yes, we go back to Jupiter. Jupiter is going to greatly help us, not again in a way that are necessarily going to be comfortable, but it's going to greatly help us. And with Moon always moving, it is going to be ebbs and flows. Just work with it, you know. Like this is also another aspect of it, to learn to honor that we are not a machine. We are not AI. Humans are not AI, even though there are obviously somebody's wet dreams about it, that, you know, that's what they would like us to become, you know, robotic and stuff. But humans are not AI, okay? So we ebb and flow. Not every day is Sunday. Not every day you can be, you know, your 100%. We ebb and flow. That's nature. You know, look at the nature. Nature is a perfect example of it. It's not every day is summer. You know, it's like it's ebbs and flows. And now we know with all of these things that's going on in the world and everything, you know, the ebbs and flows are even more happening even at the faster pace, you know. Like you can say like, oh yeah, but you know, like I was happy hour ago and now look, you know, crazy things are happening in my life. So yeah, so this is why, and you know, like we all going to have to learn to find our inner center, you know. So yeah, you know, things will not always be perfect, you know, things will not always go our way. Some days we'll be on the top, sometimes we will not, you know, but we can always find that center within. And this is again what Jupiter will going to help us to learn, you know. Where is your center? Where is your point of neutrality? So this is still with Taurus in the sign of Taurus. Moon in the sign of Taurus, which by the way is obviously exaltation for Moon. Moon in the sign of Taurus transiting through the Capricorn Decan. So that's all about the self-mastery. So Sun making a square to Saturn. Venus is opposing Juno, and then on the same day, on Sunday the 22nd, for me in Europe it will be already Monday the 23rd, but for you guys in the US it will be still Sunday the 22nd. Moon will move into the sign of Gemini, which is again we moving into this mutability, right? So we will enter a new week with Monday the 23rd with Moon in the sign of Gemini and Sun squaring Neptune. But that's obviously for another conversation, and that will be then the fast build up towards the Cancer New Moon, which will take place on Wednesday the 25th. So yeah, so with Moon in the sign of Gemini, entering the week, you know, of the new moon in Cancer with the moon as the ruler in the sign of Gemini. You decide. You decide. It is all a choice. As much as we might feel that things are not in our control, but there are a lot of things that are. A lot of things that are, but we feel victimized by our own choices. We feel victimized by our own untrained mind. We feel victimized by our own untrained emotions. Not about suppression, you know. It's about like, do I understand why do I feel this way? Do I understand why am I getting triggered? Do I understand where did it come from? Do I understand what do I need to learn? You know, what is the lesson in this? It's not about avoiding it. It's not about avoiding the lesson or avoiding the emotion. The emotion is just a tool, right? It's just a tool. So this is what we're going to be learning. You know, this is the self-mastery, to learn to take responsibility, to learn to be disciplined, to learn to make the changes we want to make. Nobody's going to make them for us. If they will, then we will feel bound. We will feel obliged. We will feel that there is, you know, like unbalanced energy, you know, the giving and receiving and stuff. So yeah, so just like when we just really look at the whole picture of what's going on with these transits, you know, in the after effects of Sagittarius full moon, it literally is about, this is the choice point, you know, with the Sagittarius full moon. This is where you are now in your story, you know, based on who you believe you are, based on, you know, the program that brought you where you are, and everything else that you were before you got to this right here, right now. So with the Sagittarius full moon, in a square with these lunar nodes, it's saying what is the choice and what is the release point, you know, what now lost meaning and what is the new direction you want to go. And this is a choice. You decide. Nobody will, well, people can decide for you, obviously they can, but you can decide it for yourself, you know, that, like I said, you know, for example, what do I want to eat? How do I want to spend my day? How much time for rest do I want to take? Who do I want to interact with? What do I want to watch? You know, how much time do I want to spend scrolling social media? How much time do I want to spend being checked out? You know, how much time do I want to spend in meditation? How much time do I want to spend doing something that I love doing, or making excuses why I don't have time doing that? These are all things that we might consider like, well, they're just random every day, right? But this is what creates your life, you know? Like, yeah, you know, obviously there are things like politics and, you know, like natural disaster and stuff, which you cannot control, you know, you cannot control, you don't, you know, like you consciously as our ego mind, me consciously as my ego mind, I don't know what's going to happen in the country where I'm at, you know, at that time. Like, yeah, my soul knows, obviously, you know, I made a choice to be at whichever place at whichever time, like, even though I might not understand it, but this is not something that's in my control, right? But then how do I respond to my environment? That is in my control. So yeah, so there are all these things which we might feel that we are just like puppets of destiny, but destiny is your higher self. So it's always about co-creation. So that's why with this attunement, you know, all these Cancer energies we've got popping on right here, right now, and Mars moving into the sign of Virgo, which is about the human experience. Virgo is all about human experience. Virgo is all about the walking the earth. You know, the spirit, Pisces, coming into the form, you know, Virgo, right? Or Taurus, whatever, you know, coming into the form, and then having the experience. And it's not about perfection, it's about having the experience. Because what is perfection? You know, perfection would be like something that is like complete, you know, a complete product, that this is the final result, is perfect, you know, like a painting or something. But evolution continues. Nothing will ever be fully done. You know, there is always a continuum. The story will always continue. You know, we are just like here for 5 minutes. You know, we are just like guests. You know, we are guests of this planet that is hosting us, you know, and allowing us to play out these roles that we want to play, that we chose to play, you know, as a soul. And then obviously being here as a human, then we, you know, have a free will to decide that, okay, now how do I want to play it? What do I want to do and stuff? So yeah, but we are here on a borrowed time. So now with all of these things that are going on in the sky, the time, I mean, obviously, the time is becoming less and less relevant. Yeah, because, I mean, you know, like, what is time anymore? Like, the time is crazy, you know, like, is it, what day is it? What month is it? You know, like, I mean, come on, we're almost halfway through 2020, what is it, 2025, right? I don't even know what year we are at anymore. It's just crazy. So anyway, so time is becoming irrelevant. So it's not about that, but how do you want to have your experience, you know? Like, we don't know how much time we have. You don't know if you're here for another 10 days, 10 years, or 100 years. You don't know. So, you know, time is outside of our control again. It's about how you experience in it, right? So with this Jupiter in Cancer, Saturn and Neptune in Aries, which is about the new, initiation of the new, you know, the new way of creating your life, the new way of giving a meaning to it and perceiving it through this different lens. With the Jupiter in Cancer, Mercury in Cancer, you know, until I think the 26th, right? I don't know, it's gonna be the new moon in Cancer when it's Mercury moon. Actually, I have it here, might as well check, right? When is Mercury moving? Yeah, 26 exactly. So it's right after the new moon. So Mercury is still in a sign of Cancer for this new moon in Cancer, on the last degrees of Cancer. So that's what I mean. You know, now we are at the stage. This is a very pivotal year very pivotal year, because year 9, things are closing, things are ending. Saturn and Neptune are going to go back to Pisces for the last time. Uranus is going to go back to Taurus for the last time. I mean, it's not yet in Gemini, but it will next month. So this is the last year. This is a huge shift of energy, with the Pluto already being in the sign of Aquarius. Saturn, Neptune, Uranus moving the same year. Obviously Jupiter does move every year. Mars moves, like all these personal planets, they move faster. Jupiter once a year, but the rest of them, they more often. And with the North Node being a sign of Pisces, this is a big year of culmination, big year of letting go of all of that which we wear, which in many cases is not who we came here to be. It was just the role we came here to play for certain period of time. Yeah, for some people that's it. Like it depends on the soul. And it's no better or worse, because everybody's needed, like in a movie, if you just have two actors that, okay, well, it could be a good documentary, but it might not be a great movie. I mean, it might not, but you want all these other characters so you can understand. So the story has richness and depth, and there is obviously the drama, because we all like a bit of drama over here on planet Earth, some more than others. So anyway, just let's try to stick to the point, okay? With all of these huge changes that are going on for us, so this is kind of like, this is kind of like glitch in the matrix. This year is kind of like a glitch in the matrix point, like when things are kind of on a pause, but not really, because things are obviously passing in a different time. Certain things are going slowly. You might think like, oh my God, I've been in this situation for years. When is it going to change? I feel stuck. And then certain things are going very quickly. Like the time is passing very quickly. Like, oh my God, where have the first 6 months of the year gone? We're almost in July, right? So that's what I mean. Time is not relevant. Time is like, it's passing. It's passing in a weird way at the moment. But it's about, who are you choosing to become? What is this, whatever is the rest of your incarnation on this planet, the rest of your time on this planet in this form, in this body, what do you want it to be like? And then ego come and start screaming at us like, well, what do you mean? I don't really have a choice. This is my situation. Look at the bills and stuff. And then how can we go beyond that? How can we go rise above it? Override that program. How can we do that? And this is what are we going to be learning, with the Saturn in Aries. Nobody learned the first day, it takes time. Mars is in a sign of Virgo, soon to be on the 17th. Mars is going to be in a sign of Virgo, so it's going to be like, it is a step-by-step process. With Virgo is a step-by-step process, just like it is with Cancer. The 3 steps forwards, 2 steps back. Cancer and Virgo, they sextile each other, they like each other, so it's a supportive aspect. But all the same, with all of this energy that is currently present, it is all calling you inwards. With the sun is going to be shining through the sign of Cancer for a full month. It's going to illuminate to us, like, how do you feel? It's very interesting that we have, obviously Jupiter is already in the sign of Cancer, and Sun is still, at the time of me recording this, in the sign of Gemini. But it is a choice. It is a choice. How do you want to feel? How does that version of you that you wish to become, how does that version of you, how would it feel? How would the version of you react in this situation and stuff? And that is all a choice, but we have to become conscious of the unconscious. Otherwise, we feel that we are always like at the mercy of something that we cannot even identify, which is the unconscious mind, right? So it's this, it's like, it is really starting to be difficult to try to describe these energies, because they are not tangible, because they have to be felt, and they have to be embodied, and they have to be experienced. So the verbiage, even though I talk a lot, and obviously 37 minutes in, but the verbiage is not even important. It's all about your inner world, because everybody's inner world is completely different. Everybody's experiencing this life completely differently. So being in the after effect of the Gemini, yes, Gemini New Moon, Sagittarius Full Moon, what are the choices that we are willing to make to reprogram our mind to create a new program, a new software that will run this hardware in a way that is sufficient, effective, and will take us to where we want to go. And with the new moon in Cancer, we'll be seeing that. We'll be seeing that who you want to be, what is the role you want to play in this new game, in this new story that you are choosing to bring into manifested form. And it will take time, and it will take a lot of adjustments, a lot of practical, everyday, mundane, boring, not very sexy things, but it will happen because that's your legacy, right? The Capricorn, that's your legacy. Your life is your legacy. So how do you choose to live it? That's your choice, right? That's my choice. That's everybody's choice. So, okay, let me leave it at that because, we're going to be diving into rabbit holes and stuff. And and I want to pull this card. So I'm going to start with this brand new deck, which I'm super excited about. It's from one of my most favorite authors, Susie Sherap. She created the Oracle of Delphi, which is one of my soul decks. This is the brand new deck. It was actually released in April on the month of my birthday. So it's like I take it as a personal birthday present for my 40th birthday, the Moon Temple Oracle. And obviously everybody knows by now that I have a moon in Cancer. So I'm a moon child. So let's see what this Moon Temple Oracle wants to tell us with regards to the energies that we are at the moment, with the after effects of the full moon in Sagittarius, the integration of those, which we will be, going through next week, and then the subsequent build up towards the new moon in Cancer. So let's see. I had never used this deck before. I just shuffled it, and I am, not overly familiar with the cards. So, okay, we have protection at the bottom. A chunk of cards just came out, and there was number 8, protection. Protect your strength. It's also about, not everybody will understand. Not everybody is going where you're going. So don't try to find a validation or justification from those who are not. Here we go, reflection. Again, number 8, 44, master number frequency 44, reflection. So here is the Gemini, the sun on the final degrees of Gemini, the final decan of Gemini, which is the Aquarius. So this is perfect. What do you see yourself as? Is this future version of yourself? And also this is like, like a wolf, right? Like she's like in the wolf clothing, this version of her. So it is the dark and the light, they always play in roles. And we have the bear there. Bear is usually protective as well, protective of her little ones. So yeah, reflection, gibbous moon. So I'm gonna read the interpretation because, like I said, it's a brand new deck. I never used it before. But who do you want to become? How do you see yourself? And do you see yourself the way that, obviously we never see ourselves exactly as other people see us, but when you look in the mirror, do you see the potential of who you want to become? Yeah, this is like a rebirth in a sense. 4444. 4 is the stability, security, the new foundation. Number 8, the strength to manifest. The strength to manifest that which you want to create. And the truth, okay? Number 16 at the bottom, the truth. 3rd quarter moon, number 16, which is the number 7. What are you learning? What is your truth? Number 7 is a chariot card in a tarot, which is obviously the Cancer card. What is your truth? This is a full moon. That's just what got illuminated to us. What is the truth about you? Because everything is about you in your life. Obviously, yes, we are part of the bigger picture, bigger puzzle. You are not here just to self-serve, but you are an important aspect of your experience. You came here to have your experience, but also to serve the humanity. And there are a million things that are happening throughout your incarnation. It's not just singular thing, one singular purpose. But yeah, what is the truth about who you think you are and where are you going and who are you becoming? Okay, let's just see what the deck wants to say. So I'm going to start with the reflection. This is quite a chunky book, to be honest, considering that the deck only has 44 cards. Oh, wow. So we had the final card. We have the final card of the deck. Wow. Yeah, I just realized that. 44 cards in this deck. Okay, let's see. So, reflection. I gain a new perspective about a bewildering situation. So yeah, this is definitely the after effects of Sagittarius full moon. Moonlit code words. Intuit, predict, interpret. Moon being inside. There is a current method that is mystifying you. Titaness Phoebe inspires you to go within your own inner oracle to seek the answers. She will encircle and hold space for you to dive deep into your well of wisdom and give this matter a serious thought and consideration it needs. A clear intention aligns the answers to your specific question. Start with the topic in mind and trust the reflections that come into view. Ponder on the calm inward musing that bring a sense of clarity to you. Here you'll find a trustworthy source of knowledge. Intuitive awareness conveys clear guidance, whereas incessant worry creates chaos and confusion. This is what I started with the overload of external information. It's not necessarily helpful to have all this information from ChatGPT and AI and stuff. Like, what are you going to do with that? Are you able to integrate it? Are you able to put it into practice? It is not always helpful to have all this information. Information you can get anywhere, but like, what actually holds a meaning, and what is your intuition telling you? Is this useful for you? So yeah, this is very much with the Mercury in Cancer, right? Mercury in Cancer squaring the Saturn, squaring the Neptune, which is saying the crisis in action. We're not going to create a new way of experiencing reality in this world in the same way we created this one, which is very mind oriented. So it's all about this inner, creating from inside out, which is how it was always meant to happen. So intuitive awareness conveys clear guidance, whereas incessant worries creates chaos and confusion. The difference between the psychic message and trepidation is the way it is communicated to you. Intuition is conscious, calm, and strong sense of perception, not fear wrapped up in limiting belief or conditioning. Take a breather, get still, center yourself, again the center, right? And surrender to the wise one within you. Your psychic expansion is being accelerated at present. You are visionary that can foresee and foreknow the future. Follow the magical cues to find the path of least resistance. This mystical trail will lead you to higher dimensions of existence and greater psychic clarity. Intuitively construe the deeper meaning of these signs to make them relevant and beneficial to you. Reflection is the cornerstone of spiritual growth. Self-devotional practices like meditation are enhancing your connection to the divine. Expanding your energy means you grow as a person. Allow yourself to receive more experiences in your life that fill you with joy and start living a more fulfilling and healthier life inside and out. Moon guide is Phoebe, and known as the Lady of the Sky and Mysteries, Titaness Phoebe embodies the mystical powers of light, the skill to conjure a silver light, and the ability to attract abundance and repel obstacles. Moonphase Gibbous Moon, the vaccine, swelling Gibbous Moon, is a time for reflection and expansion and to ponder on the life lessons, insights, and internal growth you've gained so far. You may also need to pivot and plan ahead throughout this expensive phase. And then there is a ritual, chant, and artist prose. Okay. So I'm not gonna go into all of that, but yeah, beautiful deck. Very there is a lot of information in this book. A lot of information. Okay, and let's just see what this truth wants to say. The truth, because Sagittarius is all about the truth, and Jupiter in Cancer, what is the truth of your inner world? The reality is ever evolving. Moonlit code words. Consider, reveal, cultivate. Moon being inside, you may be questioning your views at present and experiencing a huge paradigm shift in how you see the world. These growing pains are activating intense spiritual growth for you. You are on the edge of the mystery and purpose of your life. Embrace it. Embody the curiosity and inquisitiveness of your inner moon child. You never stop learning, growing, and evolving. Allow the truth to reveal itself to you. An open mind and heart create graceful flow and flexibility to help you see the bigger picture. Seasons, cycles, and outside influences all affect affect your perception of your current situation. In other words, your lived experience affects the lens you see through. See past the obvious to dig deeper and seek the truth of the matter at hand. Move through every breath with real courage to be guided home to your spirit. Stay true to your own divinity, core values, and purpose, regardless of the pressure you may be under to act otherwise. Align your values, ideals, and actions to live a congruent and harmonious experience. Be honest with yourself and others and take responsibility for your slip-ups. Remember, healing is in your hands. Whatever you have said or done before, accept it, grow from it, and forgive yourself. Stop hiding from the shadows of the past. Do not be trapped in the darkness of shame and shattered dreams. Let the light of love penetrate your being and shine upon you. Immerse yourself in an ocean of compassion to set your soul free. Forgive yourself because it is the only way to start afresh. Yeah, the North Node in Pisces, very much so. Moon guide is Diana. Diana is the twin sister of sun god Apollo. Her sacred symbol, a crescent moon, shows her in the sky. One of her celestial archetypes is the truth seeker. In unison with the sun, she hunts for clarity and the deeper meaning in life, love, and your soul's purpose. The third quarter moon rises around midnight and sets around noon. At this time, the moon is nearly black to the point of in its trajectory where its day side directly fades the sun, and all that you see from our earthly outlook is a small bow. This moon guides you to see the light of your truth and the higher perspective. Yeah, this is so full moon in, this is just crazy. This is so full moon in Sagittarius and new moon in Cancer, this guidance. Yeah, and it is literally so connected to this Jupiter, in the sign of Cancer. The truth is always have been within you, and it's different for everyone, so that's why other people will have a different opinions, a different perception, and it's not wrong. They're not wrong. It's just their reality is perfect for them. Okay, let's see about this one. This is my other brand new deck, Cosmic Crossroads. It's from Amanda Lynn Eisling. It's a cute little deck, even though it is not a pocket size, but it's quite nice and neat little one. So let's see with the crossroads. Crossroads, let's see with the crossroads. Cosmic Crossroads, because we are at the crossroads. We are deciding who we want to become. We are still at the end of Gemini season at the time of me recording this. Aquarius Deacon, breaking free from the old choices, from the old contracts, from the old perceptions. So where are we and where are we going? That's everybody's choice. So Cosmic Crossroads, what is the guidance with the after effects of Sagittarius? Okay, we have quite a bunch of cards here. Control, compassion, sadness, quite a lot of cards. So I'm going to shuffle again because there was quite a lot of cards that pop out. Okay, let's see if any of them. Okay, just lesser cards, please. One or two. Okay, let's see. Freedom. Freedom, number 19. Freedom. Freedom is always available to us. It's again about the matter of perception. The rainbow. What do we see? And it's interesting. She's got these mushroom and crystals. Mushroom, we can say this one is a very poisonous mushroom, or even cactus. Like it's a matter of perception. Is this a beautiful plant or is it an ugly plant? This is a poisonous plant. Should it exist then? If it's poisonous but it's beautiful. Look at the beautiful color. And the crystal, the wisdom keeper, the quartz, it remembers everything, So it's just like under the rainbow. What is the perception? What are we perceiving? So the freedom is in your choice. How do you want to perceive in any given situation? That's where the true freedom lies. And it's the number 19, the 1 and the 9. You can always start again and you can always end whatever is not working for you, but it's the number 10, which is the Wheel of Fortune, and number 19 is the Sun card, which is the, opportunity for rebirth. Your perception can always change. This is again about the Sagittarius, and it's again about Jupiter in Cancer. You can always change how you feel. And, that eventually change who you are becoming. All the choices that we are creating on daily basis are forming who we are. And then at the bottom we have a storytelling. Yeah. Yeah, you can choose your own story. Number 38, number 11, master number frequency. And look, this looks like an eclipse. Yeah, the next eclipse we will experience will be the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces, and then new moon in Virgo, the second one, because we had one in August, but the second one on 29 degrees. So September, storytelling. Yeah, let's see. That will be still the Virgo season, where Mars is now in Virgo, right? It will be the Virgo season, storytelling. So what are we going to be learning throughout the summer, until September, which will be the next new season, the equinox. So now we're going to enter into the new season with Cancer solstice. Then we're going to have an equinox. So I feel throughout the summer you have the freedom to decide, to choose your future timeline, the ones that you want to birth, you want to create into manifestation in 2026. What do you want to bring with you? How do you want to perceive it? And then with the next eclipse season in September, the story will start forming. Because many channelers are saying that we already enter in the frequencies of 2026 from July, when Uranus moves into Gemini, because it accelerates the timelines that are available to us. So what is the story? What is the story that you want to birth? Yeah, there are certain stories that, we couldn't avoid. But now, with the Saturn in Aries, a lot of that is in our hands. Yeah, so what is the story? Let's learn from the past. Virgo, South Node in Virgo. Mars is going to conjunct the South Node in Virgo. We don't have to repeat the same stories, we can create new ones. We have the freedom to choose. So let's see what the Cosmic Crossroad booklet wants to say about these two cards. This is the first time I'm using this deck, so I'm going to read the description. Okay, so we start with the freedom, this one, and look, this like flying in the sky, on the magic carpet. One of the great quests in life is the journey into the self. Okay, it's the same story, but same message wherever you look. We are born into a world of ultimatums and conditions. We learn quickly that we must adapt to survive, and therefore we mold ourselves into the image that will bring our best chance for safety and connection. There is power in questioning the adaptations we may have undertaken in order to receive the love and care we need. Compassion, forgiveness, and grace will be necessary on this journey for yourself and for those who have been interwoven into your life. If you have pulled this card, then this is the time to allow what you have been holding back to come forth. What have you always wanted to do or be or become? Give yourself the freedom to question the underpinnings of your identity. Cancer, right? Let go of what you think you should be doing and who you think you should be. Release the labels that have been placed upon you. Just because you have been one way in the past does not mean that is who you always must be. This is so perfect. This is so perfect, coming into Cancer season, and Jupiter in Cancer and Mercury in Cancer. Exactly. Perfect interpretation of the energies, this card. Okay, and let's see about the storytelling. The lure of the storyteller can be quite irresistible, for within the story lies the magic of the impossible and the mysteries of the unknown. We crave the hope and distraction that stories can bring to us so much that we often write ourselves into a narrative all our own. Sometimes these stories can be beneficial, but sometimes they cloud our perception of reality. If you have pulled this card, then it might be helpful to review the stories within your life. What have they been speaking to you through these stories? Are you telling yourself something that is contradictory to what you actually want? The stories you tell yourself are powerful. Make sure your stories are full of love and hope for yourself today. And yeah, actually there are affirmations. I'm the creator of my story. I do not let the world around me write my story for me. I write my story in love. In my story, I do not limit myself or anyone's expectations of who I should be. I am free to be who I am. Okay, let's see about the freedom. I forgot to read the affirmation. I do not fear the parts of me that were rejected as a child. Every aspect of me is beautiful and worthy to be loved. I love which others reject. I accept parts of me that did not bring me love. I am free to love all of myself, wholly, completely, and truly. Yeah, you are free to be you. You were born to be you. Yeah, your authentic expression, it is the gift to humanity. Yeah. And your wounds, also the Chiron. All right, and let's finish with the Journey of Love. This is the original edition, Journey of Love. This is one of my soul decks for sure. It's got a different back than the other one, the print I have at home. So let's see what cards will come out to guide us through this journey, because it's, you are love. We all came from love. We return to love, the source, the unconditional love. So Journey of Love. So we had the guidance from the moon. It's all taking us within. We had the guidance from the Crossroad. Again, it's taking you within. You decide, to free yourself from the restraints of the past, to accept yourself unconditionally, wholly, and, forgive yourself the rejections that we, had to endure for ourselves, that we rejected aspects of ourselves, and we had to endure rejections from the outer world to survive. But yeah, we can always change that story. So let's see about the Journey of Love. The Journey of Love. What is the message for the collective of the week of the Sagittarius Full Moon? The spaces between the worlds. Yeah, that's where we are. Number 24, the 6. The balancing. This is perfect. This is literally where we are. In between the world, what was and what has the potential to become. That's why we are in Gemini season, the season of choice. With the new moon in Gemini and now full moon in Sagittarius. We are in between the world. We have the opportunity to decide where do we want to go from here. And at the bottom, a man of the ether, of the earth and woman of the sky. The man of the earth and woman of the sky. I pulled that card for myself previously, not recently, but previously. 48, which is number 12, the expansion. We are all children of both. The children of the earth and children of the sky. We all have ancestors from this earth, but we also have a starseed origin. So when the two come together, the heaven and earth, there is a new creation that takes place. But at the moment, we are in between. We are in between because we decided what it is that we want to create. So with the sun moving into the sign of Cancer next week, there will be a lot of initiation from the inside out, because it's the cardinal sign, it's the cardinal season, but it's all about emotions. So we don't go directly, we have to feel it, we have to process it, with the Mars in the sign of Virgo, from 17th, from Tuesday. Will be step-by-step adjustments. So let's see the spaces in between. 24. This is such a beautiful deck as well. Yeah, a lot of yellow, the joy. Allow the joy to guide you. When we look for guidance, oh my God. When we look for guidance, we often look for words that clarify, reassure, and help us find our authentic path through the chaos. Yet there is also guidance in the spaces between the words. Okay, so it's words, not worlds. Words, spoken words, but same. Yet there is also guidance in the spaces between the words, between each letter, between all the happenings in our lives, where there is nothing to be said, where there are no lines to be colored in, where there is just openness. Those are the times when we need to freestyle, we need to do or not do based on what is happening for us right in the moment. Often there is far less to do than we think. Often we don't need to think. There is a space forming around you now. Sometimes when we sense this subconsciously, we feel accelerated and excited, anxious and nervous, and not even sure why. There is a sense, perhaps, that we wouldn't mind having a map of this unknown terrain. Or perhaps we are happy to wing it and make it up as we go. Either way, there is a space to just be. It is a receiver for the divine presence. If you have a lot of space of unknowing around you now or within you, then just know that there is a lot of divine presence to be received. It can't be explained really. It happens between the words, and yet without it, there wouldn't be any words, any guidance at all. The oracle speaks to you. Enter the space and let go, for your time to receive is upon you. Be blessed. And then the poem goes, Day birth. The eastern rise of time on newborn wings burst out across the lifeless crowd and sinks its climb to heights unknown, of beauty, warmth, and power upon its throne, to fade again in western sky, and only for a moment lie, before it takes its course again, to breathe once more in heart of man. So this is again about the going within. Find the answers outside, not seeking the verbiage, not seeking the information, but making the time for the stillness, to just be, to go within. That's where all the answers are found. And yeah, some of them can't even be verbalized, it's just the feeling, it's just the knowing, Okay, the men of the earth and the women of the sky. This is what we all are, the beautiful kaleidoscope of everything, all the elements. I see myself in you and you in me. We may seem to be so different and sometimes yet so similar. Even beyond this, I know deep within that we are one. I can lose myself in your light and receive your light with my body. I can witness the darkness of your shadow and enter into it with my compassion. I can find the divine in our connection, letting go of what I thought I was. I can be broken apart to become as one with you, even if only for a second, and know the divine more intimately than ever before. Our passion leads us to each other, and in each other we find our true selves. This oracle brings you a message of sacred relationship that leads to divine understanding and experience. You are being open to a sacred relationship, either in your current relationship or one that is on its way to you now, in human relationship and in divine relationship with the heavenly beloved. Know you are worthy of it and keep a light of gentle hope and respect kindling in your heart as you anticipate the union with your beloved. Know that even when it is dark, when it challenges you, there is sacredness unfolding. The love of the divine wants to reach us not only in our happiness but also perhaps more so in our darkest hour. Let it reach you through your relatedness with another, and do not be afraid to be broken and opened, for in that cracking of what you thought you were, you shall begin to know what you are, which is heaven on earth. How rare to be born with the name of love! What challenges await that I must face, or a voice to listen to from above, telling what I must embrace. Each day I walk a path unknown, with no regrets for where I've been. Each experience is mine to own, no choices called to live again. How strong I am, I ask myself. The measured test unfolds each day, a blessing of enormous wealth. Inside the gift will always lay. Yeah, it is a gift to be here, even though the human experience is a it's a tapestry, tapestry of everything, diversity. So yeah, between the worlds, between the worlds are the worlds, and we are in between the worlds and the words. So we go within to find a direction, to the union with yourself and with another, whoever are the people you are meant to come together with, the soul contracts. We freeing ourselves from the contracts of the past and coming together, reuniting with our soul family, with the contracts that will help us to create the new version of you and the new version of Earth. So yeah, a lot of people are coming together, romantically and otherwise, in partnership to co-create, because nobody can do it on their own. You didn't come here to do it on your own. We came here to do it together. Okay, final message from Major Arcana. Please, Spirit, thank you. Final message for from Major Arcana for the upcoming week. Sagittarius Full Moon integration, build up towards New Moon in Cancer. Hangman, yeah, change of perspective. This is perfect because we had the reflection, didn't we? We had the reflection. Post Full Moon in Sagittarius, we are reflecting what is my truth, right? Where do we want to go? And now we have the Hangman, the illumination, the ascension, the enlightenment. Number 12, yeah, it could be delays, yeah, of course, because things are changing. Mars is going into Virgo, nothing is going to happen fast, and Sun in Cancer. But things are happening, it's happening from inside out. It's about a change of perspective. And number 3, again, expansion, Jupiter. This is a Neptune card. We are growing spiritually, even though we might not see it, we might not perceive it yet in a manifested form, but things are happening. Things are happening between the words and between the worlds. Things are happening that we cannot describe, but they are happening. And the world at the bottom, perfect, the Cancer card. Yes, because the old has ended. The old has ended. So we have to reconnect with our spirit, with our higher self, because the old world, the way things were, has ended. All the fixed sign, all the fixed sign, the fixed is changing. It supported us until this point, but now we graduated. We graduated from the role we played. We graduated from the old way of being. New is coming. This is the 21. This is the, again, perfect. 12 and 21. I mean, you can't make it up. 12 and 21. And when was the last Jupiter-Saturn conjunction? Yeah, December 21st. Yeah. Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. I mean, you can't make this up. Neptune card, the ruler of the North Node, co-ruling with Jupiter, Saturn. And the last Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, 21st of December. And we have the 12-21, 21-12. 2 threes, expansion. Number 6, balance. What is underneath? The Sun card, exactly. Because we're creating the new. Yes, because next year. But we're already in the timelines. We're already moving into the timelines of the next year. The number 19. Yeah, there was a number 19 card. Which one was it? Number 19. Freedom. Exactly, freedom to choose. Choose your story. The number 11. The freedom to choose who you want to become. New version of yourself to co-create a new world, better world, the gold age of humanity, because the old has ended. The Jupiter in Cancer, the expansion. You decide who you want to become to create the new world, because you have the power to do so. So at the moment, we are in between the year number 9, the number 6, because the old is balancing, the karma is balancing, so you can free yourself from it. But remember, you are everything, and everything is you. Oh my God, this is amazing. This is so beautiful. All right, I want to close this session. I want to thank my higher self, spirit guides, angelic team, ascended masters, all the creators of the deck, all the spirits, and all the messages that came through, our ancestors, Starseed family, and all the beings of light that were present. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you everyone for watching. As I mentioned, I'll be on a move tomorrow and again this weekend, but then I'll be set in Bulgaria for the whole summer. So if you wish to book a reading with me, you can on my website. I don't have any availability for June, but July, August are open. So you can book your readings. And also I will have a seasonal sale coming up from solstice. So stay tuned for that one. My seasonal sale will be on for the summer. So yeah, you can take advantage of that from solstice, right? From the day of sun moving to the sign of Cancer. And yeah, with that, I wish you all a wonderful week ahead. Integration of the Sagittarius Full Moon energies, preparing for the new moon in Cancer, who you want to become. And I'll speak to you again soon. Much love everyone, and bye for now.